Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're looking at something, well, something pretty out there. We've got our hands on a tactical report that tries to predict Africa Cup of Nations matches using, of all things, the language of biochemistry. Yeah, you heard that right. Sounds wild, I know, so let's see what this is all about.
So that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can the world of science, we're talking metabolic pathways and enzymes, actually predict what's going to happen on a football pitch? It's a massive claim, for sure. So let's break it down and see exactly how the system even attempts to do that.
And get a load of this. This is a direct quote from the report. It talks about synthesizing metabolic pathways for the teams. You won't find any talk of a 4-4-2 formation here. Instead, we've got to wrap our heads around terms like metabolic equilibrium and kinase baseline to even begin to understand its logic.
Okay, let's start with the system itself. It's got this super scientific sounding name, KEI-ATPase 3.0. And the claim is that it's a whole new scientific model for analyzing how a team performs. So let's dive in and see if this new science actually has legs. Right, but before we get to the juicy stuff, the actual predictions, we kind of have to learn the language. It's like learning a new dialect. So we're going to translate 4 of its key terms from biochem speak into plain old football talk. That's the only way we'll understand the why behind its picks.
Okay, first up, metabolic equilibrium. It sounds super complicated, right? But what it's really describing is something every football fan knows. It's just a fancy term for a team that's already done the hard work and qualified for the next round.
See, so when the system flags a team, say Egypt, as being in this state, it's not just an observation. It's a huge predictive clue. It means they've already punched their ticket to the next round. And you know what that means? They're probably going to rest their star players. And that changes everything for their next match.
All right, next term on our list is kinase baseline. Now, you can think of this as the system's way of putting a number on a team's core quality. It's not just one thing, it's a mix of their current form, the talent on the roster, and, their history and reputation.
And this is the perfect example. The system looks at a team like Morocco and assigns them an elite Kinase baseline. That's not just a fancy adjective. It's the system saying, hey, look at their talent, look at their momentum, put it all together, and you've got a genuine powerhouse, a massive favorite. Okay, now for one of the bad ones. When you see the term structural decay, you know there's trouble. The system uses this to flag a really deep, fundamental problem with the team. We're not talking about just a bad day at the office. This is a sign of a real, ongoing issue. And the team that gets this label? Comoros. Why? Well, they haven't scored a single goal in their last 5 games. That's not just a string of bad luck. To the system, that's a classic symptom of structural decay, a serious weakness right at the heart of their attack. And the last one for us to decode is fortress logic. This one is all about history and maybe a little bit of psychology. It's what happens when one team just owns another. Like they've dominated them for years and it creates this huge mental hurdle for the other side. This is absolutely crucial for the Angola versus Egypt match. Remember we said Egypt is in metabolic equilibrium and might rest players? Well, even with a B team, they've never ever lost to Angola in 7 tries. That's fortress logic in action. That history gives them a massive psychological advantage no matter who's on the pitch. Okay, so we've learned the lingo, we've cracked the code, now for the main event. Let's see how all of this translates into actual predictions for today's massive group stage games. First up, Group A. And the system isn't messing around here. It's calling for away wins for both Mali and Morocco. And just look at those confidence scores. A solid 0.84 for Mali, who are playing against that Comoros team with structural decay, and a whopping 0.89 for Morocco. And that huge confidence in Morocco, that's not just a random number. It's rooted in the data. That elite kinase baseline we talked about, well, it's backed up by an incredible fact. They are unbeaten in 19 straight matches. 19! Now, let's hop over to Group B, where things get a little more strategic. For Egypt, with their metabolic equilibrium, the system plays it smart. It goes for a draw or a win, covering the bases. Then, for that huge regional derby, it backs South Africa, but cushions the pick with a draw no bet, basically an insurance policy for a tense rivalry. This chart lays it all out perfectly. You can really see the system's confidence levels at a glance. Morocco is way out in front with that 0.89 score. That's the system's absolute top pick of the day. And right behind it, you've got the Egypt double chance and the Mali win. Super clear. So, okay, the system spits out predictions, but it doesn't just stop there, which is what's really interesting. It actually takes this weird biochemical analysis and turns it into a practical strategy. So the next question is, what does it tell you to do with this info?
Well, it uses something called a ligase engine. Quick science lesson, a ligase is an enzyme that, joins molecules together. So the system borrows that idea. It joins its predictions to a confidence score and then ranks them to build what it thinks is the most solid, reliable strategy.
And this is what that strategy looks like in practice. The top tier, most confident picks, that's Morocco and Egypt, get the ultra banker label. The Mali win is called strong value. And that South Africa pick, that's a tactical shield, a more defensive, cautious move. This donut chart just makes it crystal clear. The system is essentially saying, look, put the bulk of your strategic weight, a full 60%, on those two ultra bankers. Then you split the rest between the value and the shield. It's not a guess, it's a completely data-driven plan. So, all of this leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? Is this KETPase thing a real glimpse into the future of sports analytics? A world where these crazy complex models give us a genuine edge? Or is it just a really, really creative new way to talk about the same old dynamics of football we've understood for years? I guess the only real answer is going to be found on the pitch.